Good evening, everybody. Hello. Thank you. Hi. I hate it when people do that and expect a response, but thank you.
She's getting up.
So,
Thank you.
thank you all for coming. It's very nice to have you. I'm here to get us started, basically. And I would like to introduce Joanne, a person that needs absolutely no introduction. But I don't know if you've had the opportunity to read On the Run, but it's absolutely wonderful. And I've been looking forward to this evening for, it must be months now. So ever since I started reading it, and so I'm very, very happy to hear all about it. And save your questions for the end, and we'll cover all of the questions that you have. And oh, well, thank you. My name is Jenny Sims. I'm the co-chair of the Adult Education Committee here at CBE, along with Janet back there in the back. And we would just like to welcome you and hope you have a wonderful evening.
I hope so too.
I know they will. That's all I've been saying for the past month. You're going to be sad if you don't come to see Joanne on Wednesday night. It was hard last night. I came and she wasn't here. Do you want to hold it?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Is that good? We don't want it to be right in front of your face.
All right, well, then I will hold it.
We want to see you.
Oh, that's good.
How's that?
Well,
Oh, it's unruly.
I'm somebody that things happen to.
You say that again. Hey, Sarah, can we just hold it? It's drooping.
The drooping, yeah. Well, how was that?
But we do want it to be.
Aha.
She can fix everything.
No, apparently I can't fix. Oh no, wait, I got it.
Yeah.
It's working. Well, no, it's working.
Okay.
There it is.
Take it away.
Okay. Thank you. Well, here I am, and I'm going to talk about this book that what I'm going to say is already in the book. So I'm going to recommend that you read the book. Thank you and good night. Hi. I think I'm having fun with all these faces that I used to know and still know, and you're showing up from all these places. And it's giving me a lovely feeling all down my whole aged body. Well, this sounds so antique that you'd think it happened 150 years ago, because everything in my life, I fell backward into it. When I was, 40, I think, a person from the women's movement said the trouble with women is that they don't have a life plan, and they don't plan what they're going to do in their lives, and they don't make a way to do what they have planned to do every year, every month. All have a life plan. If I had a life plan, nothing would have happened to me. I fell backward into it. A lady called from my road and she said, "Do you realize that we have fires here?" And I said, "Yes, I realize that." And she said, "Well, there's a fire department. It's very new. And there's nobody during the day who can respond. They're all at work. It's volunteer. I think we need to take some kind of training just to hold the thing if we have a fire until the firemen come. Well, that made sense to me, and fires never happen anyway. I mean, I was with fires when I lived on Lookout Mountain, and the neighbors would come and put the fire out, and that was it. Great. Sure, quoth I. So I went there, and we had training, what there was, how to engage a pump, how to spray water. Okay. What about driving the truck? Well, I drive a car. I suppose truck is okay, too. They have tires and stuff. So we had this training. Ah, says the fire department. Do you want our insurance canceled? If you're, I mean, here you are, you're not trained, you're not a member of the department, and you're a woman. I've been aware of that for quite some time. Well, women, they scream and faint. Do you scream and faint? Okay. Well, all right. Oh, and there's something else. Inappropriate conversation. There are males, when they are in stress, indulge in inappropriate conversation. And we can't hear that because of something. All right. Now you've done this, and we want you to come up before the whole fire board and all the department to explain your motives. I don't have any motives. I don't want to wear the hat. I don't want to drink beer. They had a big beer thing. They had a pool table. I don't play pool. They would sit out in front of the new firehouse. It was kind of a VFW thing. My husband was in World War II, but I wasn't. So I don't know. They said, well, all right, so you have to do your motives. And they presented us with this screaming and fainting and language. Well, all right. I am, as you can tell, large. My was an English lady. She was the one who called me. And she was what, 5'1", 5'2", 90 pounds, wringing wet. We looked terrific together. You know, I have this in the book. Obama and who was that lady? They looked like a different creation when they walked together. She was in, yeah, Ginsburg and Obama. That's who we were. Yeah. Okay, I wasn't male or black, but you get the picture. You get the picture. Anyway, I was raised on the streets of New York. There's hardly any language of which I am not aware. And I can do my best in a couple of languages anyway that I learned from being there. So the language part doesn't bother me. She was English and very, very nice, and she said, I was in a cutter in the Second World War picking up dead bodies in the English Channel, and the amount of screaming and fainting I did was not excessive. So they decided, I mean, when I look at the services now, it was so very different in outlook, in training, in everything, as to be quite a different thing. But what we faced was pretty much the same. So, yes, we became members of the fire department. Half of them quit because they didn't want to work with, I guess, with people who scream and faint. I don't know. They gave me a coat, tasteful yellow, and a helmet, and that was it. But we were really not trained. Again, this is in the book, and I hope you read it and forget what I said, so it'll come as a surprise to you. So here's maybe the second run I did. Oh, the first runs we did were garbage can fires and small stuff. And in the second time I went out, it was a grass fire, and there was a line snaking, electric line. I picked it up and I took it over to the chief, and he said, "Never pick up a line. You could be electrocuted and end up over there. What are you holding?" Well, it turned out that it was dead anyway, but I didn't gain any points for doing that. He said, "Okay, all right." I found out, and this was, again, it's so old. The fire had to be reported, and whoever was reporting it would report it to the police, and the police would call the chief, and the chief would call the people to come out. Now, think about that in minutes. So, all right, they weren't calling us. Is that better?
It is.
Not for me. They weren't calling us. They would call us one every fourth time. So we found that out, and 2 more people quit, and then they started to call us, and then plectrons came in. This is a box that is run by the sheriff's office, and it has 4 or 5 fire departments on it, and they give you a note. Bee-oh, bee-oh, yow, 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 yow. And then they say what it is, where it is and what it is, we hope. And you put that in your living room, and it goes off many times. And so that's what we had. And the first time we got that lovely call, it was VW, a little bug, versus semi. The semi had its light broken. The VW was smashed in. And I went there, and there was blood all over the windshield. And there were 4 guys in this Volkswagen, no, 5 guys in this Volkswagen. And I thought, it may be that the door is holding these bodies together. They were splintered each other. So I opened the door very slowly, and this guy looked at me, and there was my clientele, almost forever, young, male, and drunk. And so he looked at me and he said, "Who fucked me?" I said, "It wasn't me, I was home watching Columbo." You're laughing. He started to laugh. And all the four guys, four of them, all of the three other guys started to laugh. So I knew that there was this is not a death thing. This was okay. And we slowly got them out of the car, and life went on. This should have tipped me off as to the fact that a lot of what we were going to do I was going to do for the next 13 years was not fire, but response to whatever. And the whatever was what's in this book. So question, why did you write it? I don't know. Why? Why does anybody do stuff? There were, 22 other books, but they were fiction. A lot of people don't know what fiction is, by the way. I taught at Mines. I taught a fiction class at Mines, and they didn't know what fiction was. They thought you either something you make up, or you get some little story, change the names, and write it down, and fiction. Well, it's neither of those things. There is a lady here who knows all about fiction, who is sitting right over there. Hi, Diane. Fiction. It sort of is and sort of isn't. I would say to my class, and you might fool around with this, what is the top moment of my life? That moment when I said, it doesn't get any better than this. What is the bottom moment? This is the worst thing that could ever happen. Then that's the first assignment that I give, and the second assignment is, you write that down. That's nonfiction. That's what happened to you personally. And I'm going to tell you 2 sweet stories about that. Then take those personal experiences and run it through somebody else. Let me give you an example. At Mines, there was a student whose name was Steve, and more about him later. But Steve was a beautiful student, and he was a falconer. And his top moment was that I didn't know anything about falconating before his essay. You have to catch your falcon. You have to make everything that the falcon uses, the hood, the jesses, the whole thing, has to be made by you. You can't buy them. You have to clock in with the health department, the fish and game, the game and fish, the external, the internal, the hot and cold, moist and dry, every agency under the sun before you run this falcon. You have to feed the falcon. You have to train the falcon. You have to engage the falcon in some kind of whatever it is. And then you let your falcon go. If the falcon doesn't come back, you have to report to the health department, the interior, the exterior, the dappa-doopa-dappa-dee-pa-doo. He did all those things, let the falcon go. The falcon took off. Pew! And he stood and waited, and waited, and waited. The falcon is gone. There's no more falcon. And then he sees a dot. There's a dot. No, it's not. It's a dot. It's bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this marvelous run it through, and he said, I'm running this through my mother. The goddamn thing eats mice. You got to catch a bunch of mice and feed it to the falcon. It smells. It drops crap all over the floor. Why didn't he keep on with bonsai? There's nothing terrible about that. We did that last year. I'm sick of this. I don't want any more of this. This is terrible. Perfect. Now you know what fiction is. There's another story, the dark story, but this really makes me kind of tremble for the character of the person I was dealing with, that student. He came to me and he said, this is the bottom, I'm doing the bottom of my life. And he gives me 10 pages. Okay. We are, he said, my father was head of the bank in some town which will remain nameless. We had a hunting lodge at some place. We had skiing in Aspen. We had this, we had that. College, of course, for all of the four of us. We were the social top of the social world. My father came to us one day and said, things are bad at the bank, and it looks like I'm going to be held responsible. And there was my father, a picture in the paper of my father in handcuffs. I'm only a little bit in. This isn't the bottom. There's more. Okay, he did 3 years in Canyon City. We went to visit him. There's still pages. How come there's pages? Here we come to the bottom? No. He came home and he said, okay, it's obvious that I'm not going to be at the bank anymore. But I used to be a pretty good shade tree mechanic, and Rusty down at the gas station has said that I can come back as a mechanic if you want to stay here. Meanwhile, his wife got work in the real estate office where she used to be his secretary. We're making a 10th of what we made before. Now, if you want to go vote, because I'm not in the vote. I've done my thing, and I've subjected you to a certain amount of shame in the community, and I'm not going to vote. Stay or go. It's your choice. Well, they chose to stay. I'm not through. I'm reading, and of course, college plans gone. We all got work. I was a cart boy in the store, in the grocery store. My sisters were babysitting, doing this, doing that. And the first Sunday, I'm still reading. The first Sunday, we went to the church. And of course, rubble behind us. And the pastor said, you know, we're welcoming back the family. My father, he's out of jail, out of prison. She didn't say that, but we're welcoming back Mr. So-and-so. I'm still reading. And we came out on the porch, and Pastor was standing there, and we all came out as a family, standing with Pastor, and my friends came up and said, come on, let's go, we're all going down to the lake, and we're all going to have a good time, we'll go down to the lake. And I went, and that was the bottom. I knew that they forgave me. I knew that I should have sat there, stayed there as a family with my parents. But instead I went to the lake with my friends, and that was the bottom. So I thought, well, they call that character, you know? Oh, man. Yes. So, anyway, that's what I write. And so why do this? Well, I wanted originally to just write these stories and leave me out of it. And I sent that to my editor, and the editor said, no, we need you in there somehow. I still don't know why. It's too episodic, he said. If you just have the runs you did or the things you did. What was so great about it, and by the way, the woman I was with originally said, I'm doing this for the duty of it. She had the character too. I don't have the character. I loved it. She said, I'm doing this as a duty, and now there are enough people who are here, and you've taken the training. We've signed up for everything. And I'm through. And she left. And I thought, I really like this. And the question is why? It doesn't smell good. You get all these auto wrecks. Each fire department and each rescue has a specialty because of the geography that they live in. There are mountain rescues, which I would never do. I don't have the athletics or the strength for that. There's water. We don't have any water. I've seen water evacs, and you see that in the movies or something. I've never done that. So it's highways. Highway accident, fires and highway accidents. And there's a certain essence to highway accident. It smells. It's bloody. It's not beautiful. What is it? I think there's one other, I don't say hobby, thing that does that, and that's caving. Cavers can't explain why they like it. I know because I've been in caves, and the cavers say, none of this works. It's too cold, it's too hot. And there are places where if you try to stick something in to save yourself, the whole thing erupts and you get killed with gas, cave gases. Why do we love it? I haven't the faintest idea. It's just great. For one thing, you're at the very core of life. You're at that part of life which is very deep and very funny. There are funny things that happen, and you are dealing with people who are at their most vulnerable minute, and you're standing there being sane. However, I have said to some of these young male and drunk people, welcome to the caravan of 10,000 delights. Which either gets them laughing if they have any sense of humor at all, or what? Who was that? But it is, it's, it's lovely work. I don't know any work that is pure good. Most things are mixed. I think that's pretty close to pure good, with one or two exceptions. And that is people who you save who are not in any condition afterwards to be grateful for being saved. However, when you're at the minute when somebody is not barely breathing and you're there to stop it, you're going to stop it. You're not going to say, I wonder what's going to be the future of this. So there's that, but only that. All the rest is pretty pure, and you don't get much that's pure. So now it's time for questions. Hi.
Did you go home and make notes after each event? How did you remember so many details?
Well, at first I didn't, and I didn't have any. Maybe half of what we had were stand downs. So you're halfway there, and they'll say something like gunshots, and then they'll say, "Did I do that?"
No, they're grabbing a second one for the questions. So Sorry.
Then they'll say, "Stand down," and is he dead? Did he shot? Did he shoot? Was it who shot? Was there? It wasn't. And you'll never know. But yes, eventually I started writing them down, and they make you report when you do a fire, and you report it, and I wrote a lot of them. I try not to be literary. Yeah. 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 Questions? Hi.
Wait, so
Well, I wondered when you stopped and what
Why did I
precipitated.
stop?
Yeah.
Okay. After 13 years, three things. We got to become an arm of the hospital, and their protocols became our protocols. My deal was with the victim. We're not allowed to call them patients because only a doctor can call them patients. You're not allowed to say that somebody is dead. Now, they can be dead as beans. The person who trained us said, if the head is 50 feet from the body, you can say this person is dead. Otherwise, no. So you have to say, this person is not responding in any way, shape, or form. Not breathing. I don't get a pulse, or I don't get any heart, anything. So you have to say that, but you can't say they're dead, or couldn't in those days. We became an arm of the hospital, and the protocols of the hospital were that you had to take everybody in. Well, my deal is with you, and you say no, that's it. So I was feeling a certain tug against my belief and my relationship to the victim. And the second was that I started getting an ulcer. And the third was that there were enough people, and occasionally I would be crowding somebody that, there'd be a party at the scene, and I quit. But also, now that I look at it, what was I? Wait. I was 50 when I started. I was 60-something when I finished. My math isn't that good, so if I didn't have these fingers, the whole thing would be a mess. It was time to go, and that it was time. I was afraid that I would be. There were people on the service who were doing it way after they should have stopped. And I asked God to tell me, because I knew that my fellow folks wouldn't tell me. Sweetheart, we love you, get lost. Please tell me, Lord. You're not supposed to say Lord. Because it's the women's movement. Please tell me, Hashem, when it's time. So Hashem told me when it was time. Yes?
Joanne, during this period of time, you had a family, and I'm wondering what their feelings were about your going out on these calls and the impact on the family.
I have this terrific husband. His name was Albert. He was one of the great husbands. He said once, how can I fault you? I hate this thing. How can I fault you? You do all this good. You do good for people. How am I going to tell you to quit doing it? He had the car ready, pointed out, full of gassed up. We got an emergency. What is it? Like a trucklet. Oh, he bought me that, the gumball on top. So I took that gumball and I put it on our little it's a European car. Opel. Thank you. My little Opel. And he also gave me a truck horn. So the little Opel, which, by the way, we were allowed to go 10 miles above the speed limit, which meant that we were behind everything that was going. And there'd be the little Opel boing, 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 and the little thing, here I come, watch out, boys. They're scattering, you can see it, they're scattering before you. Thank you, Rivkala. Yeah.
I don't think I need this,
Well,
but,
it's not for you, us necessarily, it's for the people on Zoom.
okay. When you first started to do rescue calls, did you find it to be, oh my goodness, more grisly than you would have imagined? Or did you absolutely were surprised that no matter how grisly it wasn't a factor?
Well, okay. The motto, our emblem is the duck. It's serene on the surface, and the little legs are paddling like hell underneath. And the saying is, don't get sick, get busy. Because here's all this blood. Well, you have to, wait a minute, where's that coming from? What color is it? Is it lung blood, in which your sphincters tighten? Or is it regular old blood that you don't have to worry about? Is it internal? Is he bleeding internally? That's a different matter. You have to, while you're thinking, you're not throwing up. I never got sick until I would be in the emergency room and she would say, hold this while I do this to this person. Or cadaver class. I was in cadaver class. Now, here again, even cadaver class, you look at a cadaver, those heart attacks are real. You can see the heart attack. You can see where these muscles are atrophying. there it is. It's real. These lungs that have emphysema, you can see it. So you start thinking about it, and as soon as you think about it, you're not going to throw up. Okay, you ready for this? Has everybody digested his lunch? Okay. Here it comes. It's not in the book. I've met with my friend, Nettie, who was doing this with me. She's a nurse. And she said, you know, all vomit tastes the same. Yes, I have had people throw up in my mouth.
Mm.
So you have to go for the bigger aesthetic. That some of these lives you're saving, it's not all that great, but it has happened. There's a sound they make, but there's so much noise going on that you don't hear it. So the warning is lost on you. But see, they don't do mouth to mouth anymore because they have, first because of AIDS. And what I was doing was right by 72, around 80, 81, 82, AIDS came in. And then people got terrified. And then they started using special devices that you can blow air into people. But we did mouth to mouth. And the thing about me is that I can quit breathing. So I was training people to do mouth to mouth so that I just quit. And they would be supplying air to me. And I could tell them, this is good. I'm not doing a damn thing. And you're breathing me, and you've been doing it for 3-4 minutes. And if you weren't doing it, I would be scrambling up the wall. So this is good. But now, of course, they have a whole bunch of other things. Debbie.
Joanne, after the rescue, did you ever have another encounter with a survivor?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, there are a couple of three. A lady stopped me at the supermarket and she said, "Do you recognize me?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Thank God." Yes, you saved my life, and I thought, well, that's good. I'm glad of it. But she said, I don't want you to rescue me. There was, and this is also in the book, there were 3 young men, also young, male, and drunk, versus phone pole. And I did an extrication there of having to find out whose leg am I pulling? Whose leg is this? Whose arm is this? They were all wrapped up in each other. And I had my knee in somebody's rib while I was in the car trying to pull them out. And I felt really bad about it, and I visited him in the hospital. And he was really angry at me because I apologized to him, and he said, "I don't remember anything about this. I don't remember even leaving the saloon where he was." But he was unconscious while I was working on him, and he was not himself. And I learned never to do that anymore. Just one time was enough. You learn a lot of stuff about things. And there are funny things. A little girl had a situation, and she was 3 years old. And I said, "We're going to take you to the hospital, honey." And she said, will I get a baby? That's her experience. You go to the hospital, you get a baby. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is On the Run an audio book?
Is it an audio book? I don't know that it is.
Okay.
And not yet, no. Okay. Somebody said, did you say that you got it on your phone? Somebody said they told
I
me
got
that.
it on my phone.
You got it on your phone.
I did.
Joanne, you said that you encountered people with mental problems and in your work on the
Yeah.
field, literally, and then bringing them to the hospital. And then you quoted that people fear and hate mental illness.
Yes.
How did that affect what you were doing, and why do you think that is?
This is one of the things in the book that I go into. But I have a different feeling about that, and my very strong illness and hospitalization made me. There's a certain arrogance that people have about suffering. I've noticed in a lot of ways in a lot of people that yes, I have locus on the bocus, and I've fought this, and I've come through it, and it's taught me something that you don't know about. And you're almost saying it ought to be worth something. All the pain I've been through, all the suffering I've been through, ought to be worth something. And yes, I did, and I went through it, and therefore, get her. There is some of that. And I thought, well, I can do these psychiatric things better than anybody. Wrong. And the proving me wrong was the end of the beginning of, the end of the recovery. I am well, I'm recovered. And I know about that arrogance. And I don't have it anymore. I hope it is true. Yeah. But we did handle, there was a controversy about suicide. And the controversy about suicide is the people saying to me, and I'll give you a suicide too. Why do I have to go out after these people? They want to, let them do it. I'm getting up out of my nice warm bed. It's snowing. I'm cold, and for what? She wants to die. He wants to die. Let him do it. I think for the most part, it's momentary. And I have a certain, what would I call it? Not in my district. And I all but said that. You want to die, go someplace else. I'm not interested. And the doctor that was managing or not even supervising, facilitating us, I had the idea and said, these mental people, they are clogging up our facilities. They're hopeless. They're a lower sort. I mean, and they really are less than normal. Normal is less than what you want. who comes to us to get help. And it should not be. I mean, they clog up the system. And I had to say, sir, I've been on both sides of the bars, and I don't believe that. I don't want that. He let me go, but the team didn't know anything about that until I came out with it. And because I fought that idea. I didn't want him to get through with that idea. Didn't like it. There is still the idea that schizophrenia is incurable. I've heard people say it. Progressive, degenerative, in other words, rotten. More than a third of us get up, get out, off the floor, spit out the carpet, and get on with it. And then another third with therapy. So what you're looking at, the guy who's talking to his shoe, is a very small percentage of all the people that have this or have had it. Yeah. So yes, we deal with tough stuff.
When you were in the classes in the beginning, the training in the classes, were there women from other departments in the classes? Or
I don't hear you well.
You went to classes when you started to work.
Went to classes.
Yes. Were there women from other departments and other divisions in the class, or just the two of
No.
you? And did you take paramedic training? Were you a paramedic?
We went to all the classes because we were no good.
But there were no other women from other departments?
People, the trainer would say, this is your normal oxyacetylene setup, only the thymus is not here and the bulbous is not there. And the piabas you have to reset the piabas. So we took every class they made, and there we were, these two funny-looking ladies sitting in the class, and we learned a lot. I took extrication from the master of extrication. That's getting people out of places where they shouldn't be, or where they were, and signed up. We learned how to, oh, by the way, this made me love Coors, because Coors, the Mr. Coors, gave training sessions on how to put out petroleum fires to every fire department along the, around, and United Airlines taught us how to get people out of airplanes. And all the fire departments along where the airplanes flew got free lessons in getting people out of airplanes, which was it's very interesting. Extrication is very interesting. So there's also an intellectual thing there. When I was in class, an EMT class, you learn a little physics, you learn about your body, your heart, just very basic stuff. What we were interested in is keeping people alive. So, if you have anything chronic, we don't do that. But if you're bleeding out of your mouth, it's very interesting. Hi.
Each situation was different, but most of them carried, if not all of them, were traumatic. And I'm wondering if you or any of the volunteers were offered what we would call today debriefing. Did you have a chance to talk about what it was like for you? I mean, you did it 13 years.
I'll
That's
tell you
a lot of trauma.
two stories, one of which is, okay, you will read that in the book. Going down Mount Vernon Canyon, you wonder why they have all these signs, low gear, low gear, low gear. And just recently, we had one where the guy lost it. And he was only doing 80. They do 120 down there because they lose their brakes and it's hopeless. They go down. Now at 120, when they hit that curve, you know the curve I mean, right before the Morrison exit, they will go airborne. They will fly. I'm talking about an 18-wheeler will fly, and according to the law of physics, if it's over 120, which they do, they will turn around upside down and make a complete turn around and land in the westbound lane. Bang. Physics tells you that. You know that. We had one. We have had more than one. And there were 8 people. I think this is the first thing in the book, but there were 8 people, all dead, except a little baby. So they had somebody come to talk to us. Unfortunately, I said what I thought. I was anguished. I was angry. I was angry at the situation, not at the people, at the situation. And this person said, you know, you sound hostile to me. She was telling me how I felt. And I thought, why did I say that? Why did I show to this person who has never done this herself, making me feel bad about what I was feeling by bang, 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 all the subtlety of a hanging in midwinter. Why was I doing that? We also had people come to us who somehow, a lot of these grief people, that was back then, were trying to imitate black jazz musicians. You must feel like shit. I don't know how shit feels. It de-dignifies what these feelings are. I lost my husband. I wouldn't want anybody to come up to me and say, you feel like shit. I don't want, that would not be right. And they were doing that standard. We did have people quit in extremis. I don't know that we ever had any PTSD. Now, I thought about PTSD quite a bit. The P of PTSD is post. So is it what you see and what you feel when you're under stress, in fire, in rescue? Or is it coming back and nobody understanding what you've gone through? Is that it? that seems to me to play a part of what PTSD is. Beautiful book. Not The King Must Die, The Last of the Wine, Mary Renault. These people who've been bull dancers in the court, in the royal court of, oh God, wherever, come back. And they come back to the part of Greece where they were taken, Athens, I think. And he says, they come back, of course, Crete, with Cretan clothing and the long nails, and they were like the top champion bullfighters coming back, but they were bull dancers. They danced with the bulls. And they come back and they say, we were bull dancers, and everybody says, forget that. You know, maybe you'll get married and nobody's going to marry you. Look at yourself. You have to be like we are. You have to come back to the farm. I don't want to be on the farm. I was a bull dancer. You don't understand. People paid thousands of drachmas to have me for dinner because of my status. And you want me to marry this farmer? Do you realize that he saved all of us? Nobody saves all of them, but he saved all of us, and we're back. And we have this pride. So, that's PTSD. That may be a part of PTSD. Look what we did, and now what am I now? I hope I've been cogent. That would be nice.
You were,
Okay.
One more quick question. Your husband had the car waiting for you to take off. He had you prepared. When you came home and you had a little post-traumatic, would he have like a sandwich waiting for you? Was there some kind of, like, what helped you out when you got home from your big
Got
adventure?
home. Okay. There are junkies, by the way, who love the adrenaline. And you go doped up to the eyes with adrenaline. And there are other chemicals that, I don't know what they are, but you never have to go to the bathroom, you're never tired, you're never cold. And you do a couple of hours, and then they take it away. So you're cold, and you're tired, and have to go to the bathroom. And somehow, when you come back from one of those runs, it's morning or it's dark, and the reds are never so red, and the sun is never so nice, and the dawn comes, and there's something wonderful about being. We had a fire once, and there was a wind blowing. That's in the book too. Maybe so you don't have to read the damn book. You've seen it. I've told you all about it. The wind was against us, and the hose that we were hosing was coming back at us and freezing. So we're carrying 60 pounds of frozen water on our turnouts. Well, the water started to melt. The ice started to melt. And running in my boot, I was so tired that I couldn't move my foot. And I thought, it doesn't get any better than that. That's what happens. any of the PTSD would happen, I don't like people dying on me. I've had maybe 5 people where I came in and they were dying and they kept dying, no matter what I was doing. I'm against that. I like that. And any PTSD that you have a feeling of failure or of why didn't I, or I could have, a bad run makes you feel like a dime's worth of dirty ice. Oh God, what is that? And the only cure for that is a better run or a better thing. No, I never got it. I think I was doing some good. And it may be that PTSD is you'd be killing people, or you'd be busting houses, or you'd be breaking in or with guns and stuff. That may be part of it. We're able to say, I'm not the cop, so you can tell me anything you want to tell me, especially with drugs overdose. Yeah. Well, I recommend this book, even though I've told you all the different features.
So, thank you very much, Joanne. Thank you very, very much. And I would, awesome. I would also say I recommend the book, not, I mean, for whatever it's worth, but also, Joanne, absolutely. I would say, we've heard a lot from the book, but there's a lot more in the book to enjoy. So do get your copy and enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Go over there and sign.
Awesome. So Joanne's going to come back here at the back and sign, and we've got books back here for you to take home with you.
Oh yeah, there are some other ones that if you want to read some other ones, there are some other ones in there too.
All right. And I want to say to each one of you, it's so nice to have you here with us tonight.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. And thank you so much for coming. We have a wonderful program coming next month. Rich Levine is coming, and he's going to talk about presidential powers. I think we gave you all a bunch of information about it. So please come and see that as well. And we hope to see you here every month. All right. Thank you again. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.